Well, it's Thursday. It's the 29th of February, so this is leap year. Should be March 1st, but yeah, it's leap year. I'm Ralph Gale, so this is Coffee with Ralph. I'm glad you're here today. 2 weeks ago, I started this journey with you on what makes us who we are and why it's so important when we start talking about needing care and what we want our family to remember about us. I hope you don't mind, but I did take the time and I wrote this out because, try to remember everything that sometimes is difficult that I want to say. It can be difficult. So I just wrote it down. Just remember this, that coffeewithralph.com is a free 15-minute call with none other than myself. And so I really appreciate your calls and your questions. Remember, all questions are answered, maybe not live on air, but in our future podcasts. I felt compelled to bring to the forefront of this conversation about long-term care, not money nor the details of care, but rather memories. I'm doing this because I have a very unique perspective on this area. Let me explain. One Friday night, as a matter of fact, in 1985, I left my office and I went out into town. Circumstances at the business which were beyond my control had sent me into a massive depressive state. And I went out to get drunk and just forget about the problem. And that's exactly what I did. I remember the bartender calling last call and being too drunk to drive. So I gave him my keys and I went outside to grab a cab. It was Tuesday when I woke up, and that is where the point of this view comes from. It's where my point of view comes from. I'm sorry. I had no idea what had happened, but I was pretty banged up. My watch, my rings, my wallet were all missing. So we presumed I had been robbed and beaten. And to this day, I still don't know. 3 days I lay there unconscious, being tended by others who turned out to be nuns. Rather than tell you what I experienced, let me tell you how I reacted, how I felt. You see, when I woke up, I didn't even remember my name. I did remember Friday, but behind that was blank. No memories of anything. My childhood, my family, nothing. Well, let's start with the moment I woke up. I had no idea where I was, and I was terrified. My vision was blurry, so all I saw was, well, let me put it this way. I thought I was dead, and I wasn't sure if this was heaven or hell. I recognized the clothes the man wore when he walked in the room, so I knew he was a priest. But my mind still wasn't putting things together. That should have put me at ease, but it scared me more. As weak as I was, I tried to get up and leave, but I was unable to. I couldn't even get out of bed. I was so weak. He started speaking to me very calmly and assured me that'd be okay. He introduced himself and asked for my name. And I sat there, unable to answer his question. The terror changed to dismay, and I just began to sob. In his kindness, he knew something had happened, but had no idea what it was. And I had no idea what it was. I was at his mercy. I was so weak, I couldn't do anything. And he patiently, over the next few days, got me back on my feet. Thankfully, I could remember most of Friday. So we retraced my steps and found my car at the bar where I had left it. The bartender knew me. He gave me my keys. But he hadn't seen what happened, so he was no help. Sounds stupid, but I asked him if he knew what kind of car I drove. He laughed until he looked at me and realized I really didn't know. So he took me to my car. There was a picture of a pregnant woman and 3 kids on the visor. Why is that in my car? A briefcase was in there too. And the documents I looked at meant nothing to me. But we pieced things together that this was my wife at the time and my children. But nothing jogged my memory. A business card was with my office address was on it. So Father John took me there. Nothing rang a bell there either. I continue to think I can continue. I'm sorry. Let me reread that. I can continue, but I think you see where I'm coming from. Without memories, you're alone, you're afraid, and worse yet, depressed. I can only imagine what it must be like to lose them slowly. A memory at a time, or having them blend together to create something in their mind that's true. But in reality, it's a number of them mushed into one. The topic today kind of began last night as I watched Chicago Med. One of the main characters' ex-husband seemed to be getting angry quicker than normal, forgetting where he was or where he was going. So she insisted he see a neurologist. The diagnosis? Alzheimer's dementia. Her response when she found out was, I can't do this. The decisions I'll have to make, the kids and my new relationship and running the hospital, I just can't do it. He gets angry with her, storms out of the hospital, doesn't answer his phone, so she goes over, gets in the house and finds him sitting in the dark, depressed. I don't want to make this anyone else's problem, he says. With her being a doctor, she says the most profound thing she could. It'll be all right, she says, and they fade to black. That is the most ridiculous thing you can say to somebody that's suffering with Alzheimer's or just got the diagnosis. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. You're not going to get through this intact. You will lose your memories. Last year, the show This Is Us chronicled the journey of the mother as she lost her battle with Alzheimer's. The whole season wrapped around that. It was the final season of the show. They did a pretty good job of it, but not really. It seems that the family all stuck together on this deal. While the daughter took care of mom, gave up her singing career, gave up her life to take care of mom. And that was okay. The rest of them, that was okay. They did send money to help and whatever they needed to do there, but it was her that took care of it. And so the other two just didn't deal with it at all, really. So you see, I come to this area with knowledge you don't have. It's not just the financial, the emotional, and the physical impact it's going to have on your family. I understand what it's going to have on you. And I do everything I can to help you prepare for that possible future. Medically, now they know there's 2 leading causes to Alzheimer's and dementia. The first is the obvious, age. We're living longer, and with longer comes more physical and mental issues. The longer we live, the more prone we are to developing one or both. The second one is head trauma. So if you played contact sports or suffered a blow to the head like me, you are more at risk than those who didn't. There's a great movie out, not for the ending, but for the content. And that speaks volumes to this. It's called The Notebook. It plays out as though we're watching a young couple progress through life. In fact, you're watching the husband read his wife's journals to her towards the end of her fight with this dreaded disease. So like I've been saying, and you'll hear me harp on them, write down or record your stories and your memories. the legacy you're going to leave is your memories. Let's leave the good ones to overshadow the bad ones. This has been Coffee with Ralph. It's not my normal 15-minute call today, but it's pretty close probably. And I want to thank you all for watching, and I wish you a blessed week. Remember, if I strike a nerve with you or you just want to learn more, coffeewithralph.com is a free 15-minute call. Let me leave you with this. I like to leave action steps. So here's one for you. Start today. Write down one memory you want your family to remember. Make it a good one. Make it one that'll make them laugh. Have a great week.